Welcome to the Silicon Fox podcast, where we explore the habits and stories of high performers. Join us as we dive into their journeys, analyze live blood tests, and break down the science behind key biomarkers to help you optimize your health. I'm your host, Mitchell Eschner, an ex-pro soccer player, a current sponsored hybrid athlete, a health tech founder, and a longevity enthusiast. Today, we're diving into a fascinating biomarker that has implications for inflammation, athletic performance, mental health, and overall longevity. C-Reactive Protein, or as I'll reference it, CRP. By the end of this episode, you'll not only know what CRP is, but also understand its biological role, how it impacts your body and mind, and most importantly, what you can do to optimize your CRP levels for a healthier, longer, and more productive life. But first, let's dig into the science. What is CRP? CRP is a biomarker of inflammation in the body. It's produced by the liver and is part of the acute phase response, your body's immediate reaction to injury or infection. When inflammation occurs, CRP levels rise, serving as kind of a biological alarm bell. Think of CRP as your body's way of flagging issues that require attention, such as infection, tissue injury, or even chronic diseases. CRP is often measured in blood tests as part of the general health checkup to monitor conditions like cardiovascular disease, autoimmune disease, or chronic inflammation. But what makes CRP so interesting is its versatility. It's not just a passive marker. It's actively involved in processes that impact your health and performance. CRP is primarily found in the blood plasma. Under normal conditions, levels are low. However, during an inflammatory event, CRP levels can increase by 10 to 1,000-fold, depending on the severity of the trigger. The system is highly efficient and has evolved as a survival mechanism. However, problems arise when the inflammatory response becomes chronic. Persistently elevated CRP levels can indicate an ongoing low-grade inflammatory state, which is linked to diseases such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and Alzheimer's disease. While it primarily circulates in the bloodstream, CRP effects are systemic. It works alongside other components of the immune system to identify and neutralize threats, whether that's bacteria, viruses, or damaged tissue. Importantly, CRP doesn't directly cause inflammation. It acts as a responder and amplifier, making inflammation's presence and helping coordinate immune activity. Now, what does CRP have impact on the body? CRP's impact extends far beyond its role as a marker of inflammation, influencing various systems and processes in the body. In cardiovascular health, elevated CRP levels are a strong predictor of heart disease. Chronic inflammation contributes to the development of atherosclerosis, a condition categorized by the buildup of fatty plaque in arteries, which can lead to heart attacks and strokes. CRP is often measured alongside cholesterol levels to provide a comprehensive assessment of cardiovascular risk. In the realm of metabolic health, high CRP levels are associated with insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Chronic inflammation can impair the action of insulin, the hormone response for regulating blood sugar levels, which disrupts the body's metabolic balance and increases the risk of diabetes. CRP also plays a dual role in immune function. While it's critical for acute immune responses, persistently elevated levels can suppress immune activity over time. This paradoxical effect makes individuals with chronic inflammation more susceptible to infections and slows the recovery from injuries. The neurological system is another area where CRP has significant influence. Research has shown that elevated CRP levels are linked to an increased risk of depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline. Chronic inflammation can interfere with brain function by altering neurotransmitters and disrupting neural pathways involved in mood regulation and cognition. Lastly, CRP's impact extends to musculoskeletal health. For athletes and physically active individuals, inflammation marked by high CRP levels can impact their muscle recovery and joint health, ultimately affecting performance. Over time, chronic inflammation may contribute to conditions like arthritis and delay recovery from workouts or injury. Now, for athletes, CRP serves as a valuable marker of recovery and systemic stress. After intense training or competition, CRP levels often spike temporarily due to muscle damage and inflammation. These acute responses are a normal and necessary part of the repair process, promoting muscle growth and adaptation. However, problems arise when CRP levels remain elevated for prolonged periods. Overtraining, inadequate recovery, or underlying health issues can lead to chronic inflammation, which impairs performance. High CRP levels can delay muscle recovery, increase the risk of injury, reduce energy levels and endurance, and negatively impact overall training outcomes. By regularly monitoring CRP levels, athletes can gain insights into their recovery status and adjust their training programs to optimize performance while minimizing the risk of burnout. It's also crucial to mention the relationship between CRP and mental health. The link between CRP and mental health is an emerging area of research with significant implications. Chronic inflammation marked by elevated CRP levels has been shown to impact the brain in several ways. A 2021 study from the UK examined the relationship between anxiety and stress-related disorders and inflammation, using C-reactive protein as a marker. It aimed to determine whether individuals with these disorders have higher CRP levels and whether the association is influenced by factors such as body mass index, multimorbidity, and depressive symptoms. Researchers used logistic regression to compare the odds of having high CRP levels between participants with and without anxiety or stress-related disorders. They adjusted for variables like age, sex, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, BMI, multimorbidity, and depressive symptoms. The study revealed major findings regarding the relationship between CRP levels, mental health, and systemic inflammation. Initially, individuals with the generalized anxiety disorders and stress or adjustment disorders were found to have higher odds of elevated CRP levels. However, these associations weakened and became insignificant after accounting for factors such as BMI, multimorbidity, and depressive symptoms. Interestingly, though, phobic anxiety and obsessive compulsive disorder were not significantly linked to elevated CRP levels. BMI emerged as a significant factor influencing CRP. Obese individuals were more than 5 times as likely to have elevated CRP compared to those with normal weight, emphasizing the strong connection between obesity and systemic inflammation. Multimorbidity, or the presence of multi-chronic conditions, also contributed significantly to higher CRP levels, further highlighting the interplay between physical and mental health. Depressive symptoms played a crucial role in mediating the relationship between anxiety disorders and CRP. This suggests that the association between anxiety and inflammation might overlap with mechanisms related to depression. Inflammatory processes, for instance, can disrupt the production and function of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which are essential for mood regulation. Elevated CRP levels are often observed in individuals with major depressive disorder, reinforcing the connection between inflammation and mental health. Anxiety is similarly influenced by inflammation, as chronic inflammation can increase cortisol levels, exacerbating symptoms of stress and anxiety. This creates a vicious cycle, as prolonged stress also promotes inflammation. Cognitive decline is another potential consequence of chronic inflammation. Elevated CRP levels have been linked to increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Long-term inflammation may weaken the blood-brain barrier, allowing harmful substances to impact the brain and contribute to cognitive decline. Importantly, mental health conditions themselves can drive up CRP levels. Factors such as chronic stress, poor sleep, and unhealthy lifestyle choices can simultaneously exacerbate inflammation and mental health challenges, creating a self-perpetuating feedback loop. Without targeted interventions to address both inflammation and its mental health consequences, breaking the cycle becomes increasingly difficult. This underscores the critical need for holistic approaches in managing inflammation, mental health, and associated conditions. The finding underscores the intricate relationship between inflammation and mental health, particularly in anxiety and stress-related disorders. While inflammation, as reflected by CRP levels, plays a role in these conditions, the relationship is influenced by factors such as obesity, chronic illness, and co-occurring depression. Addressing lifestyle factors like reducing obesity and managing multimorbidity may help lower systemic inflation and, in turn, improve mental health outcomes. Anxiety and depression also appear to share overlapping biological pathways involving inflammation. This connection highlights the importance of addressing these conditions together rather than treating them in isolation. Integrating care for comorbid conditions could lead to effective interventions and improved outcomes for individuals facing both anxiety and depression. CRP itself may serve as a valuable marker for identifying individuals at risk of systemic inflammation. Since inflammation contributes to a range of physical and mental health challenges, routine CRP testing could guide targeted interventions. This approach may be particularly beneficial for populations experiencing high levels of stress or anxiety, allowing for early identification and prevention strategies that address both the physical and mental health implications of inflammation. From this study, we can learn that CRP levels are influenced not only by physical conditions like obesity and chronic illness, but also by mental health conditions such as anxiety and depression. High CRP may not be directly resulted from anxiety, but could be a downstream effect of associated health factors such as poor diet, lack of exercise, or underlying depressive symptoms. Managing inflammation through healthy lifestyle choices, mental health treatment, and reducing chronic disease burden can benefit both physical and mental well-being. Maintaining optimal CRP levels involves several lifestyle modifications aimed at reducing inflammation in the body. One fundamental approach is adopting an anti-inflammatory diet rich in whole, nutrient-dense foods, emphasizing fruits and vegetables, introducing higher levels of antioxidants and phytonutrients, which combat oxidative stress and inflammation. Incorporating fatty fish into meals adds omega-3 fatty acids, known to reduce inflammatory markers. Whole grains contribute essential fiber and help regulate blood sugar levels, while healthy fats from sources like olive oil, avocado, and nuts offer additional anti-inflammatory benefits. It's equally important to avoid processed foods, refined sugars, and trans fats, as these can promote inflammation and negatively impact CRP levels. Regular physical activity is another crucial factor in managing CRP levels. Engaging in moderate intensity workouts can effectively reduce inflammation. However, balance is key. Overtraining without sufficient recovery periods can actually elevate CRP levels. Therefore, incorporating rest days and active recovery practices into your exercise regimen ensures that physical activity remains beneficial rather than detrimental to inflammation management. Quality sleep plays a vital role in controlling inflammation. Chronic sleep deprivation can elevate CRP levels and impair the body's ability to regulate inflammatory responses. Prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night and maintaining a consistent sleep schedule can significantly contribute to lowering CRP levels and enhancing overall health. Stress management is also essential, as chronic stress is a major driver of inflammation. Integrating practices like mindfulness, meditation, yoga, and deep breathing exercise into your daily routine can help lower stress levels and reduce CRP levels. These techniques not only alleviate stress, but also promote a sense of well-being, which is beneficial for both mental and physical health. For individuals with persistently high CRP levels, medical management might be necessary. Medications such as statins, commonly prescribed for cholesterol management, have shown to reduce CRP levels as well. In specific cases, other anti-inflammatory medications may be used under doctor's guidance. Working closely with a healthcare provider can help determine the most appropriate interventions to manage CRP levels effectively, addressing both the underlying inflammation and any associated health conditions. CRP is a critical biomarker that provides insights into your body's inflammatory status and overall health. Whether your goal is to optimize athletic performance, support mental health, or reduce your risk of chronic diseases, understanding and managing CRP levels is a really powerful tool. By adopting an anti-inflammatory lifestyle, prioritizing recovery, and addressing underlying health issues, you can take control of CRP levels and enhance your health, longevity, and quality of life. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you've gained some insight into this biomarker. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe and share it with others who might benefit. And as always, I encourage you to take charge of your health by staying informed and being proactive about your body's signals. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on the Cyfox Health Podcast.